Well, hello, I'm Paul Riley. I'm the owner of Accelerated Strength and Balance in Westborough, Massachusetts. And I am joined by Dr. Dan Meininger of the Meininger Family Chiropractic. Dr. Meininger is a doctor of chiropractic, and he has been in practice for
over 20 years.
Over 20 years. Our purpose today is to talk a little bit about the dangers of protracted periods of sitting, the impact that has on your spinal health, and then to teach you a few real sort of easy exercises that you could do to help correct some of the impact that those long periods of sitting. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Meininger, who will talk a little bit about how this affects the spine and our overall general health.
So the first thing I'd like to say is that there's a new slogan out there that you may have heard, and the slogan goes something like this: sitting is the new smoking. And what they mean by that is, if you sit for extended periods of time, you increase your risk of certain cancers, of diabetes and heart disease. And so that's why they've coined that slogan of sitting is the new smoking. But when we look at the spine, when you look at your spine from the front, it should be straight up and down. But when you sit, you put your spine into flexion, and that can put a lot of pressure into the nerves and the discs. And if that position stays for an extended period of time, you'll end up with disc degeneration, sometimes disc herniation, and it certainly can lead to significant back pain. And unfortunately, that's the lifestyle we live in, especially if you're working on computers or at a desk all day long.
Right. So obviously, some dangers to being seated for long periods of time, but there's some things we can do about it. What are some exercises that we could do that could help mitigate some of this, the damage that happens from being seated, as well to strengthen some of the core structures and stability muscles that are in our core, and help prevent some more of the damage in the future. So the first one is really just to sit tall. Most folks, when they sit down, they use the backrest, and because we're about 70% fluid, our bodies are, we tend to take the shape of our container. And if your container is a chair or an easy boy, you take that shape, and often it just gets worse and worse as you continue to slump down. So if you just do nothing else, is sit forward and do not use your backrest. But coming here to sit on the edge of the chair so that just your glutes, your butt muscles, are on the chair rather than the full back of your leg. And then to sit tall here in this way so that your shoulder joint is stacked over your hip joint. So if you can imagine a vertical line that goes through the shoulder and then through the hip, and you can maintain that posture and then elevate your chin some so that you avoid that forward head posture or chin poke, which is when your chin comes out, and just stack your spine in a nice healthy way that you see Dr. Meininger's model looks. So from there, all we're going to do is just add a little bit of abdominal bracing, and so that's a slight contraction in your abdominal muscles in which you're pulling your belly button in towards your spine. Another one you can do is to do scapular retraction, and that is to bring your shoulder blades gently together. So from here, once I'm in this nice tall stacked position, I'm just going to pull my shoulder blades gently together. And again, it's not a bracing kind of where you're bringing them together and straining. It's just a gentle contraction. What also happens often is people will hunch their shoulders to do that. So just relax your shoulders down. And if you were to do this for a minute or two, just that alone is a corrective motion pattern that will help to offset some of the damage that's being done. A progression from that is to do what is called a cat-camel. Anybody that's familiar with yoga is going to be familiar with the cat-camel. Most of the time that's done on the floor in all fours position, but we can do it seated as well. And essentially from the side, what we're going to do is from this tall position here where we're sitting tall, we're going to slump forward intentionally here and let our chin to sort of rest on our chest, and we're going to suck our belly button in towards our spine and go into full spinal flexion here, and then very gradually extend up again to where we're sitting tall, and then a little bit of extension to there, and then we transition back to what would be the camel, and then the cat. So that's a seated cat-camel. You can do 10 repetitions of those every hour or so. You're going to do yourself a world of good in terms of your spinal health and your overall health. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Meininger.
My
It's been a pleasure to have you, and I really appreciate your expertise and knowledge on this. If you have any questions, you'll see our contacts are on the screen. This is Dr. Dan Meininger from Meininger Family Chiropractic, and I'm Paul Riley from Accelerated Strength and Balance. Thank you very much.